Hey, this is Ari, and in this video, I want to share with you a little clip from my much longer presentation all about the science around saunas. This was a presentation I did that I forget exactly how long it was. The full-length version is 45 minutes or an hour or something like that. And it's packed with content, but of course, modern world, people have short attention spans, so I wanted to break things down into little valuable chunks and go over some of the key elements of that presentation. And this is one of the clips that I want to share with you. Saunas are incredibly powerful in terms of their ability to, as a hormetic stressor, in terms of their ability to stimulate adaptations in our body that ultimately confer mitochondrial growth, mitochondrial biogenesis, neuroprotective effects, antidepressive effects, increased athletic performance, and much, much more. Disease prevention, reductions in cardiovascular disease, neurological disease, all-cause mortality. Saunas are an absolutely wonderful tool and are extremely effective also for helping you to increase your energy levels. I highly recommend them, and in this clip, you're going to find out a bit of the reason why I'm such a huge fan of saunas. So enjoy, and if you want to listen to the full-length presentation, I also have an article associated with that. The links for that are down in the description below. Enjoy.
Decrease pain and fibromyalgia symptoms. This is another benefit for many of you listening who are dealing with body pain and fibromyalgia. There's research on sauna use that it has been found to reduce headache pain intensity in those suffering from chronic tension type headaches. Another study titled The Effects of Repeated Thermal Therapy for Patients with Chronic Pain. They looked at a group of patients with chronic pain, and they did a combination of multidisciplinary treatment, including rehabilitation, exercise therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, and sauna use, resulted in decreased pain, decreased anger, and depression scores. After treatment, 77% of patients that were receiving this multidisciplinary treatment and sauna were able to return to work, as opposed to just 50% of those who received the multidisciplinary approach without the sauna. Okay, so the key numbers, again, the difference between 77% versus 50% of the people can be attributed directly to whether they were using specifically the sauna or not just all of these other things that they were getting: rehabilitation, exercise therapy, and cognitive behavioral therapy. So there was a huge increase because of whether they included sauna or not. Here's another study from Japan looking at the efficacy of Wa-on therapy. Again, that's another word for infrared for fibromyalgia. They showed that pain was reduced by nearly half just following the first session only. However, the effect became persistent and lasting following about 10 treatments, at which point the women reported pain reductions between 20 to 78%. Huge, huge reductions in pain, literally within just 10 treatments, and very persistent, lasting effects. Just 10 treatments. You know, that literally might be the span of a couple weeks or 3 weeks of doing these treatments, and you can massively reduce your pain by, basically at least about a quarter, and maybe by nearly 80%. So these are, again, huge reductions. These were just people who used the sauna for 15 minutes, either 2 days or 5 days a week at just 140 degrees, which is not very hot. And 15 minutes is not a very long session. And you can see that, huge reductions just from this very meager sauna treatment, just for 10 sessions. Number 14, lowered inflammation. Huge, huge benefit of sauna use. We know that chronic inflammation is linked with a wide array of different diseases now, and we know that sauna use decreases chronic inflammation. So this is key research from a researcher who does a lot of work in depression named Charles Raison. And he's looked at the links between depression and inflammation and shown that chronic inflammation is a big factor in depression. He's also done a lot of work around heat therapy and sauna use, showing that sauna use is a very, very powerful way to combat depression. And we're going to talk more about that in a second. But chronic inflammation, or what's called inflammaging, is also linked with a number of age-related diseases and the process of aging itself. That's why they're calling this inflammaging. So sauna use reduces chronic inflammation dramatically. Pretty simple. Lower markers of oxidative stress in this study, and much lower levels of systemic C-reactive protein, which is a marker of systemic inflammation. Men in a study who used the sauna 2 to 3 times per week had 17% lower levels of CRP, and those using the sauna 4 to 7 times per week had 32% lower levels of CRP compared to those who were only using it once per week. Again, the numbers would be even higher if they're comparing it to people who don't use it at all. So these are very, very powerful reductions in chronic inflammation. I will also mention there's research from Charles Raison, again, the depression researcher, showing that the effects of sauna on people with depression and helping them alleviate depression were strongest in the people who have the highest levels of chronic inflammation at the starting point. So it is what that's telling you is that the benefits of sauna use on combating depression may be very much due to the way that sauna use combats chronic inflammation. One other thing I want to mention here is that there's research from Charles Raison on the ability of sauna therapy to combat depression, showing that it's specifically the people with the highest levels of baseline inflammation that have the strongest benefits, that have the most benefits from using a sauna in terms of how much it alleviates their depression. So what that's suggesting is that a lot of those antidepressive benefits may actually come from the fact that sauna use reduces chronic inflammation. Also, I'll mention one other study just in terms of the mechanisms here. There's a study where they exposed soccer players to a sauna protocol, and then they looked at, they actually measured in their blood how much interleukin 10 increased. Interleukin 10 is a very powerful anti-inflammatory cytokine, and they showed, of course, that after the sauna sessions, the body produces a very strong response of this interleukin 10, this anti-inflammatory cytokine. So that's likely at least one of the major mechanisms of this anti-inflammatory effect.
Hey, this is Ari. I hope you enjoyed this video. And one more thing before you go. Actually, 2 more things. One is if you enjoyed this particular little clip, the link to the full-length podcast is in the description down below. So make sure to check that out. Also, one more thing. Let me ask you a question. What if I could show you how to double your energy levels and dramatically improve your brain function, reducing your anxiety and depression to a degree on par with antidepressant drugs, but without the side effects? Sound pretty interesting? Well, there are, in fact, numerous compounds that can do this, that have been shown to do this. And I'll take you through just a few of these very briefly. One of them is Rhodiola Rosea. And this has been shown in studies, Rhodiola Rosea extract, in people with stress-related fatigue and exhaustion to cut their levels of fatigue and brain fog in half in less than a month. Just this one compound. There's another compound in my formula Energenesis called NT factor phospholipids that's been shown to help repair mitochondrial membranes and mitochondrial health to the level of healthy 29-year-olds, taking people with deteriorated mitochondria who are over the age of 65, restoring it to the level of healthy 29-year-olds. And that has been shown in numerous studies in various types of chronic fatigue, aging-associated chronic fatigue, obesity-related chronic fatigue syndrome, to increase energy levels by 30 to 45% in the span of 4 to 12 weeks, depending on the specific study. So dramatic improvements in a very, very short period of time. 2 more compounds that are amazing, I highly recommend, that are in my formula Ultra Brain, along with Rhodiola Rosea. Saffron extract. This has been shown to increase levels of, improve your mood, I should say, and decrease levels of depression on par with fluoxetine, which is Prozac. And not only that, but with fewer side effects. It's much safer and much less likely to cause negative effects than antidepressant drugs are. Acetyl L-carnitine is another compound that's been shown to dramatically improve brain health in older adults. It also improve energy levels in older adults with chronic fatigue by between 40 to 50% in just the span of 2 to 4 months. And the last thing I'll mention here is acetyl L-carnitine has also been compared to antidepressant drugs and been shown, like saffron, to be as effective as antidepressant drugs in combating depression, but without the harmful side effects that so often occur with the drugs. So this is just a small sampling of the over 35 compounds that are in my formulas, Energenesis and Ultra Brain, that are all proven to dramatically improve energy levels, mitochondrial health, and brain health, and much, much more. And I highly recommend that you go check these out. If you're struggling with depression or anxiety or brain fog, if you're struggling with stress-related exhaustion and burnout, if you're struggling with chronic fatigue, go check out these formulas, give them a shot. I promise you are going to be blown away by the results. And like I said, the science has already proven that these things work. So you don't have to just take my word for it. There's lots of research to support that, and I'll even link to some of that research down below so you can verify everything that I just said for yourself. So the links to those studies will be in the description for this video down below. So check them out. Check out the formulas on theenergyblueprint.com. Again, Energenesis is the mitochondrial formula, and Ultra Brain is our brain formula. Check them out, try them out, and I think you're going to be blown away by the results. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you again soon.